You know who we haven't listened to in a while? Remember this guy? I know. It's been a little while. I'm not saying that Ben Shapiro is irrelevant. I think that would be a little bit of an overstatement. I do think it's kind of interesting that my man has 7 million subscribers and a video titled Joe Biden supports, quote, trans children, end quote, has, like, the views that I would get in a video. You know? Ben Shapiro has gotten a lot less relevant, in large part because it seems like online conservative advocacy is almost entirely rallied around deliberate irrationalism now. I mean, seriously, the last 2 or 3 times I heard about Ben Shapiro, it was because he was arguing with Candace Owens when Candace Owens was being a Nazi. Yeah, I saw Candace Owens tweet like a week ago, and she was like, apropos of nothing, yeah, I don't really trust Milei down in Argentina. I don't know why. It's kind of like he's part of some big international conspiracy that's not on our side. And Milei is considering converting to Judaism after he leaves the presidency. And then she's like, yeah, he reminds me of Zelensky, who's like the other Jewish leader. I'm like... Very subtle. Very subtle. Ben is also Jewish, and that doesn't fly with the right anymore. Yeah, to a large extent, yeah. She's now a dino-killing meteor denial. I saw, yeah. I saw her doing the, like, doubting the dinosaurs thing.
Joe Biden, his campaign is flailing. It doesn't matter that his political opponent was just convicted of 34 felonies in New York. It turns out the last few polls have him running even with Joe Biden. In fact, here are the last few polls. Brand new Morning Consult poll, all taken in the aftermath of the conviction. Trump is up 1. In that poll just a few days ago, he was down by 1. That is not because Trump gained support. It's because Biden lost support. Forbes, Harris X, has Trump up 2 on Joe Biden. Reuters Ipsos has Trump down 2 to Biden, but Biden's only at 41%. That's not the way this
Do you think Ben will stop grifting, or is he a true believer? I get this question every time, man. I don't think that there's a very strong distinction between being a true believer and being a grifter if you're a conservative, because irrationalism is a component of fascist thought. Anti-intellectualism and irrationalism are like even for like logic lords like Ben Shapiro, you can simultaneously believe something but also know you're skewing the truth around it. Which is like grifting to an extent, but it's also kind of being a true believer, you know?
Is going to end. INI-TIPP has them tied. In other words, it turns out that you can convict your political...
His cup is so big. Oh my God, man. His laptop is also so big. It really makes him look tiny, doesn't it? Like, the mug is on this little clear plastic stand or something? I don't know what that is. And the laptop is, I guess this is like as big of a laptop as you can get. I'm guessing. And it makes him look really small. Is he just tiny? I think he's like 5'5". I mean, I'm guessing. He's lied about his height before. He said he's like 5'9", but every photo he's ever taken next to anybody else has made it clear that's not the case. But it's making him look smaller than he is.
Opponents, and that's not going to change a thing if you're a crappy president. Joe Biden is an awful, awful president. And so it's time for more pandering. And apparently, they are going to really stump to get out the vote from gay voters. This is going to be their big thing. According to NBC...
It is Pride Month. It makes sense that the Democrats would talk about queer issues. It's not really like... I mean, it is pandering. It's not necessarily an indication of desperation. They would, like, Biden would be doing this even if he was ahead 50 points.
NBC News. The campaign plans to have a presence this month at more than 200 Pride events in 23 states, including all the battleground states, and to launch a paid media blitz aimed at mobilizing LGBTQ plus minus divided by sign voters. 2 campaign officials said...
Man, that joke keeps getting funnier every time I hear it.
Details first shared with NBC News. Yes, that's right. They're going to do voter outreach at the parades. Some of Biden's allies worry about waning support among LGBTQ plus minus divided by sign voters.
That's right. It's even funnier that time.
A poll conducted in January by the LGBTQ plus minus divided by sign media advocate.
I can't keep doing this bit every time he does this. Doesn't this get tedious? As a conservative, do you ever feel patronized a little bit? Like, it's not just the politics of it. It's just genuinely unfunny. Like, it's tedious. If he says it a 4th time, it'll be hilarious. He'll say it a 4th time.
Advocacy group GLAAD found Joe Biden has overwhelming support from LGBTQ plus minus divided by sign voters overall and battleground states. But Human Rights Campaign recently committed to spend $15 million in 6 battleground states to help Biden win in November because they are worried that nobody's going to show up for him. It turns out that people are just not all that enthusiastic about Joe Biden, whether they are gay or whether they are straight. So Joe Biden is pulling out all the stops, and that means that he sent out a series of tweets to the trans children. Yes, very important. He sent out a statement.
I think I can see where the gas is. That is to say, not here. We're 2 minutes in, and what do we have so far? Joe Biden, the president and head of the Democratic Party, at least in a representational sense, is leading an effort to appeal to queer people, which is a demographic that are overwhelmingly Democrat anyway. So, okay. He's actually so low energy. Yeah, there's like nothing. There's nothing. He seems slow. Do you have him sped up at all? No. This is regular speed. Was Ben always this riskless? Well, I just think that he's like out of the light, the mandate of he's been unanointed. The mandate of heaven has been lost. He used to have more. He used to have more juice in him, and he just doesn't anymore. The divine light severed, exactly.
To all of the trans, queer, and intersex children out there. He says to the entire LGBTQI plus community, and especially...
It's like one of the other things that always gets me is that in spite of using these terms probably hundreds of thousands of times over the course of his career, he doesn't seem to know what they mean. Why would you say trans and queer? Queer is a blanket term that includes trans people. Intersex people too. Well, maybe some people would argue that. I wouldn't. It's just they just lump all the terms in, I know stuff like that sounds like kind of meaningless. Like, why would a conservative grifter fascist put effort into understanding what these terms mean? But you guys do understand that you can actually make much more pointed insults against a community when you understand even a little bit about them, right? Maybe that's one of the things that makes this feel so riskless. It's that in spite of everything, there's no... He's in this middle ground where he hasn't reached the point that a lot of other conservative grifters have, where they're basically just screaming like, we hate you, we want you dead. Like, Ben Shapiro doesn't quite go down that road. He doesn't go down that far. But at the same time, he doesn't make an effort to understand enough to make more pointed insults. So it just sounds like he's reading off of a flashcard. Why would you even bring up intersex? That's another great question. That's a phenomenal question. Why would you bring up intersex people when you're making jokes about like the alphabet soup or whatever? Are you denying that they exist? I wasn't aware that was controversial. I thought the conservative argument was that intersex people are rare, which depending on where you draw the line, maybe sure, but that's a factual, objective, ignore the evidence of your eyes and ears, right? You might as well argue that gay people don't exist. Like, the argument from conservatives is that trans people don't exist and that it's a delusion or whatever. They don't tend to say gay people don't exist because they obviously self-evidently exist. They just say that gay people are like degenerates or like perverts, or they're acting because of trauma or whatever. But they can't really deny there are guys who want to guys. It's pretty hard to deny. Why bring up intersex? It shows his audience also is unaware of what any of this stuff means. Yeah, it just feels like everyone's on autopilot, kind of. It's one of the reasons why I haven't really responded to that many videos from, like, conservative grifters, because you either have shit like this, or you have, like, people who just hate you. And there's no argument, they just hate you, It feels like autopilot shit.
Especially transgender children. Please know your president and my entire administration have your back. We see you for who you are, made in the image of God and deserving of dignity, respect, and support. Again, there is nothing more insulting than Joe Biden citing the book of Genesis.
That made in the image of God, deserving dignity, respect, support. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of insulted by that, too. I really don't like the implication that trans people are valid because they conform to a sort of religious doctrine.
Again, there is nothing more insulting than Joe Biden citing the book of Genesis for the idea that boys are born in girls' bodies. He literally doesn't finish the exact same verse. Made in the image of God comes from the book of Genesis. The ending of that verse is God made man in his image. In man's image, God made him. Male and female, he made them. That's literally the end of the verse. But Joe Biden didn't give a crap about the Bible. In fact,
does the book of Genesis use the term male and female? Like, specifically the terms male and female? Yes? Huh. I can't believe that the people who wrote the Bible are gender critical. That's crazy. It might after it's been translated 18 times. Yeah, of course, exactly. Like it's been sort of subjected to that over and over. So yeah, male and female. But what about intersex people? What did God do with them, you know?
The Bible is only useful when he can pretend to be a Christian while supporting abortion. Let me ask you something. What if there was a shadowy force that kept a log of every single thing you did every minute of the day? That'd be pretty weird if it weren't Santa Claus or God. What if I...
Holy f***.
Let me ask you something. What if there was a shadowy force that kept a log of every single thing you did every minute of the day? That...
Guys. Is he hot? No, he's just running through the motions. There's no fucking energy. That's insane.
That'd be pretty weird if it weren't Santa Claus or God. What if I told you that's exactly what happens every time you go online? Assurance firms, PwC, Ben Shapiro show to learn more.
Holy shit, it's like a quarter of the video.
He's stumping hard for the gay vote. He's also stumping quite hard for the pro vote. He continues to foist on Israel a deal that Israel certainly did not offer. He continues...
Wait, now we're talking about Israel. Wait, was that it? Was that all you had to say about trans...
prolonging this war. The Biden administration, again, in a bizarre attempt to pay off, is now putting pressure on Israel. Well,
that's it. That's all he had. You know what? I'm salvaging this. I'm salvaging this fucking dog shit, steaming dumpster fire of a segment. I remember the days where covering Ben Shapiro was a guaranteed laugh riot because the man at least had the energy to tee you up for some good jokes. This is nothing. This is absolutely nothing. Unbelievable. Why is what he's saying being believed? Oh, God, who knows how the YouTube censorship algorithm works? He became a dad, Lamau. Being a dad doesn't mean you have to be boring. That's not what it does to you, okay? It just means you lose sleep. So again, why is he watching this dipshittery? You know, when you... Okay, I'm going to give you guys a little hint. You know, maybe we can rizz this up a little bit with me berating you. If we're watching something you don't like, why is he watching this? You know why? Because I don't pre-watch videos. I'm watching it and reacting to it as you are. If you think it's without energy, I think it's without energy. Why are you like, well, why didn't he psychically know that it wouldn't be the case? And when you say it like that, it sounds like you're bitching about me rather than Ben. So for that, you get banned off. Ridiculous, honestly. Though there's meaning to be found here. I've talked about Ben Shapiro's fall off from grace and the right for a long time, in large part because, you know, he's Jewish, which means that he's kind of outside the circle of grace for a lot of contemporary conservative discourse. They got different opinions on it. Actually, it makes me wonder how the Nazis and the Republican Party are doing right now, considering the fact that the Republicans are incredibly aggressive about supporting Israel. He just misses Candace, man. I don't think he does. I don't think he does. Lost the meme editor. Can't watch TikToks anymore. I think he still is the meme editor. He still does that, right? I mean, what do we have here? Poopin' Joe. R2D2 is gay. Okay. I guess that's where we're at. Oh, there it is. Ben Shapiro reacts to insane woke TikToks volume 15. See, this one gets views. This one gets lots of views. No. Oh, God. Oh, that, like, 20 seconds at the beginning? I'm not watching that. I can't watch that. I'm not watching that. I can't do that. I'm not doing that.
Producers torture him. Yes, we're going through...
torturing you.
I know. Yes, we're going through woke TikToks again. I've not seen any...
Why is it all Star Wars?
Can't wait to unwrap this one. Let's do it.
So I applied for a job at TJ Maxx a few weeks ago.
Remember what I said about cultures and costumes, folks? This is why.
And they denied my application.
I wonder why.
They didn't even call me. They just sent me some automated email. So I went in today and I was like, so what was the reason I didn't get hired? And she was like, oh, like you just like don't have enough experience. There was candidates that had like more experience.
That's my credo. No regrets. Like, not even a single
Stop
letter.
giving movie clips,
way.
man. I'm not,
Not
fighting
me.
with the
And,
YouTube.
you know, I asked her if it was about my tattoos, obviously, because I know a lot of places don't like tattoos. She said that wasn't the reason. I don't feel like that's true.
There you go, guys. That was an insane woke TikTok. A person applied for a job and got denied the job. And then they were like, is it because of my tattoos? And they said no. Pretty woke, pretty funny. All right, well, that's all I need. These videos are like a landmine of copyright claims anyway.